Hope you're ready to rev up your engines because we're jumping straight back into Let's Play Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. So yeah, last time we took care of the Lost Ruins, and today we're moving on to the next adventure field, and it's going to be quite cold. So keep that in mind. It's also why I'm choosing to play as Polar. He will help us get into the cold territory with a little more resistance, and yeah. However, you enter and you only have one track to choose from. Thankfully, it's right here. And it's Blizzard Bluff. That's quite the name. But don't let the name fool you. It's not a bluff. But there isn't a blizzard either. So, yeah. So, Blizzard Bluff, well, now that we're heading into the second half of the game and the second half of the track list, the tracks are going to get a little more complex on average. Blizzard Bluff, that can be kind of a tongue twister right there, has some shortcuts. Some are more difficult to nail than others, but for the most part, you're going to want to build up a lot of boost before you even attempt any of them. Hopefully, I can actually get some of them. I didn't get a single one during that first lap, but we're coming up on this sort of a shortcut. I mean, yeah, I kind of messed it up a little bit, but yeah, that's considered one of the shortcuts. It's not a very particularly great shortcut, but it works. And dealing with all the boulders and all the timing of the boulders is pretty annoying too. There's going to be another shortcut over there. I think you can see it, but you have to have a lot, and I mean a lot of boost built up to actually be able to make the jump. At least in Nitro-Fueled. I feel like in the original that jump was a little easier, actually. But maybe it was too easy, keeping that in mind. So, yeah. That time, I nailed that cut a little better, because you gotta plow through the snow, which is gonna burn through all of your excess nitro fuel that you've built up. Let's see if I can nail the shortcut now. Oh, nailed it. There's one over there behind the fences, but that one is also really tough to nail. I got 2 out of the 3 main shortcuts in Blizzard Bluff. I'll take that for a Let's Play, for sure. And yeah, since this is the first track of... what was the name of the place? Glacier Park, I think? Yeah, Glacier Park. Yeah, it's pretty short.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
Oh, we're not gonna get Aku to show up. That's fine. Alright, so let's get right back into the cold. Now, this is, you have to do one track at a time here. You're not ever gonna get choice. Ooh, look at that boss door. If you played Crash 2, you ought to recognize that face. Oh.
To open this door, you must come in first place in all 4 races of this area.
So yeah, that pops up whenever you go close to a boss door. I was trying to avoid it, but it still happened anyway. It looks like next is going to be the infamous Dragon Mines. Alright, I think now is an appropriate time to bring back Dingo Dial, mate! But we're going to keep the same vehicle because, yeah, reminder, in Crash Nitro Kart, there's this character named Entrance that mind controlled Dingo Dial, Polar, and Purah. So, in Nitro Kart, this was Dingo Dial's kart, or at least this is what it looked like. But, well, I think we can make this work, mate. So let's just shove right on in there. Alright, so welcome to Dragon Mines, the second track in Glacier Park, and this one is going to throw you for a loop. It's not a terribly long track, but it's got some pretty tight turns coming up, and while there is a shortcut you can take advantage of, it's arguably one of the most difficult shortcuts to nail consistently. It involves going through a tunnel on top of railroad tracks, dealing with a minecart all at the same time. And you have to make sure that you're going fast enough to outrace the minecart without getting squashed. But the railroad tracks slow you down, right? So, yeah, that's a problem. But besides that, Dragon Mines is interesting here in Nitro-Fueled because they added a lot more gems, so it looks more sparkly. And they added a dragon in the background that vaguely resembles the dragon from Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. In the medieval levels in that game, yes, there are medieval levels in Crash Bandicoot Warped and Wrath of Cortex. It's almost like they were really inspired by one particular Crash game when they were making that game, but yeah, a dragon chases you down in the medieval levels, 2 of them at least, in Wrath of Cortex. And it seems like they brought him back as a background element in the remade version of Dragon Mind, which makes sense. You could argue that adding the gems might be a nod to Spyro the Dragon, especially because Spyro, Hunter, and Nasty were added as playable characters a few months after the launch of Nitro-Fueled. And sadly, I have to rebuy them on Switch. I have them on PS4, but I don't want to have to grind coins and rebuy them here on Switch for the Let's Play, you know, just for the heck of it. Speaking of which, I think there's another character I'm going to have to show off later on, now that I'm remembering it. Anyway, fixing to come up to the end of Dragon Mines. Thankfully, on easy mode, it's a lot more tolerable. I mean, if you don't go for the shortcut, it's really not too bad of a track. But that spinning spiral of bridge towards the end, if you're using like a class that doesn't have a lot of turning ability, you're probably going to struggle on it. And yeah, if the computers are on any difficulty higher than easy, it's a rough time, man, for sure.
Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Congratulations! You win a trophy!
So is it just me, or did Dingo have like a weird change to his color palette during that victory celebration? Maybe it's just me. At any rate, for no particular reason, we're gonna be... Who do I want to play as next? You know what? It has been a hot minute since we played as Crashy Boy. And now that we actually have the cart body from Nitro Kart, I think it's a pretty good... Oh, hold on. Wait. What's this? Dual stripes. Oh, don't mind if I do. And let's throw in the Team Bandicoot. Oh, yeah. This is reminding me a lot of Crash Nitro Kart now. That might work well for the next track. I'm really wondering what the next track's gonna be. Well, it's another snow one like Blizzard Bluff. But I think I and many others prefer this one over Blizzard Bluff. Polar Pass. Yeah, you know, maybe in retrospect I should have played as Crash for Blizzard Bluff and Polar for the actual Polar Pass, but we're talking about the person, me, that played as Ripperoo for Coco Park. Consistency be damned. Alright, so Polar Pass, honestly, is Blizzard Bluff, but better. It's a lot more fast-paced, you get a lot more room to do your power slides, a lot more opportunities, I would say. A lot of twists and turns, it's also a good bit longer than Blizzard Bluff, which is a good thing. Yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks in Crash Team Racing, for sure. Definitely a fun one to come back to. There's at least one shortcut that should be obvious towards the end of the track, but there's at least one or two other ones that maybe aren't as obvious and are a lot harder to nail. I actually just missed one, if you can believe it. Maybe you didn't catch it, but yeah. It's a pretty sneaky shortcut there that requires a good bit of tricky maneuvering. And that's the shortcut right there. You gotta jump the fence. I guess that's not a very big shortcut, but it's a pretty obvious one. But one problem with that one is that you gotta really depend on the timing of the seals moving back and forth. You know, if they're in an inconvenient position, there's not going to be much you can do here. So my exhaust right now, or it was, glowing blue. And that's called Sacred Fire. Yeah, so Sacred Fire, there are only certain boost pads in the game that will give you that particular color of fire. And that's the fastest speed that you can achieve in the game. So, yeah. Let's see. I couldn't make it, but I think by doing that, you get the idea of what the shortcut entails there. You gotta be really fast, and you gotta prep the corners insane. And that's probably a better shortcut than hopping the fence later in the track, which, let's see if the seals will actually cooperate this time and I can actually make the shortcut. I doubt it. I mean, I usually can. I'm usually pretty good with the seals. Alright, hey, barely. But then again, I'm usually playing on one of the more advanced engine classes, which probably helps. You know, balanced is a little gimped, but not too much. Definitely more than turn. I think if I was using the turn class, I probably wouldn't have made that shortcut just now. But that's fine. I wonder if I can make the other shortcut this time around if I'm a lot more consistent with my boost. But yeah, there are specific boost pads in certain tracks in the game that will give you the Sacred Fire. You normally can't get it through any other means. Maybe with the Drift Racing class, but I'm not 100% sure about that. You know, some people swear you can if you do it like that. Oh, I made it! So you might want to wait till the first spot with the boost pads to try and nail that shortcut. That's one of my favorite shortcuts in Nitro-Fueled. I don't know if that one is possible in the original game. I don't think it is because of the slight change to the physics between the original and Nitro-Fueled, you know. Nitro-Fueled plays a lot like the PS1 game, but it also takes a lot of liberties. Not just in the raw gameplay, but in terms of the content. Let me tell you. And the original game was really great on the content. Nitro-Fueled is even better on the content, man.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
Alright, I gotta say, this is a lot more fast-paced without Aku Aku barging in all the time. Or Uka Uka, whoever the case may be. Let's rock the Doberman Tiny skin, because the next track is Tiny's home track, Tiny Arena! Before we move on to Tiny Arena, though, I just remembered there's something I should have been keeping an eye out for. You know, something gold and shiny that I have yet to see. It might be further on down, actually. Because when we do Tiny Arena, it's going to take us straight to the boss, who you may have already figured out. So, let's just keep going. It has to be around here somewhere. Freaking golden egg. Is it here? Oh, yeah, yep. It's right there. That seems really easy to get, actually. As long as I build up some boost, I should be good. Let's see. Finally got it, man! You don't want to know how many tries that took. I kept undershooting it and even overshooting it. Good lord. Alright, let's move on straight to Tiny Arena. Actually, one of my favorite tracks in the game. The music track is one of my favorites. But actually, the racing track itself is pretty fun too. It's a little on the long side though. So be prepared to have that expanded expectation. And hey, we're playing as Tiny, we're going to Tiny Arena, so Tiny Smash Puny Cars! So, for some reason, the little logo on the lower left doesn't have Tiny's face. It has like a piece of a chain? Wonder why they went in that direction. But anyways, dude, this track is a lot of fun. You're going to be constantly jumping a lot. The turns aren't too terribly sharp for the most part. Yeah, it's a little long, but you're going to be boosting a lot. So, I mean, there is a serious fun factor here. And the more optimized you are, the better you get with your skills, with the power sliding and the turning and all that. Even if you're playing on the speed class, you can really do some damage on this track. Whenever I played online on the PS4 version, man, this track was always like one of my best tracks. I usually would perform really well when playing with other people online. A couple people in particular, actually, that come to mind when I think about that. But yeah, Tiny Arena is, yeah, it's really fun. Anything else to say though? Because this is a pretty long track, and I actually really like the music track that's going on in the background of this music track as well. Oh, some miscellaneous stuff. When you're doing your boost during the sliding, the longer you wait before you push the button to do the next boost, the more fuel will be added to your reserves. I don't know if either I mentioned it during the Let's Play so far, or Aku mentioned it during one of his tutorial messages, but mentioning it again for posterity because it's good advice to remember. It also applies if you're in the air for long periods of time. The longer you're in the air before you land, I'm pretty sure that applies the same. It'll add to your reserve while also enhancing the actual boost you get. So that's pretty dang nice as well, honestly. Yeah, that's something that I need to mention. Is there anything else I need to mention? Miscellaneous. The Tiny Arena itself, yeah. Actually, this reminds me a lot of a racetrack from Mario Kart 64, and some people will probably be quick to make a comparison. The track Wario Stadium, I believe, from Mario Kart 64. Similar aesthetic with the dirt roads and whatnot, and walls all around the place. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to talk about, so I think for the last lap, I'm going to be silent and let you guys enjoy the music and the sound effects. Commentary will resume when we get to the boss fight.
All the other races on these tracks. Well, now you'll see why I'm the most feared driver on this circuit. I'll earn the right to this oxide by crushing you into brake dust. Let's race.
Alright, so back in Dragon Mines, well, it's a boss race with old Joe. I've already said everything I need to say about the track itself. As for Joe, though, he's kind of an upgrade over Rue, which is a funny coincidence since Rue and Joe were my mains in the original Crash Team Racing, so it's kind of funny that they share a similar preference for a certain power-up type. That being the TNT and the Nitro. Pretty sure Joe has access to both of those this time around, unlike Rue, who I'm pretty sure only had access to the TNT. But Joe, I believe, has access to both. I believe he can lay them down, and he can also toss them, which is worse, because even if it's TNT, if it lands on the ground after toss, it's going to blow up, and if you're near the explosion radius, well, you're going to be put out of commission. Thankfully, this is on easy, so I can escape his wrath and be able to deliver a much more concise commentary as a result during the course of this boss race. Or, actually, that was a beaker. I don't know if that was mine or his. Maybe he does beakers too. I doubt it, but, well, wouldn't be too surprised, I guess. But I seem to remember him preferring TNT and Nitro. Kind of hard to tell since we're so far ahead of him at the moment. I've also noticed that in these boss races, for some reason, in the upper left, it doesn't show you the time you have for each lap. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know if that's an intentional design just for the boss races or if that's a glitch. Either way, it's really unsettling. But you can still tell the number of laps in the upper right, so I guess that's alright, but I don't know, man. But yeah, whatever Komodo Joe drops, you should be able to handle it pretty okay. It's the track that's arguably the hardest thing about Komodo Joe's boss race. You know, Rue's Tubes is a simple track, and Papu's Pyramid has so many shortcuts you can nail to get past Papu Papu that really does kind of close the difficulty gap with Papu Papu.
You're not so slow after all. Surprised me you did. Here's a key for the win. Still, I think you're not fast enough to outrace Oxide. We're going to lose our planet, and it'll be all your fault.
Alright, am I the only one that feels like that message that Komodo Joe gave at the end there was an ominous warning, much in the same vein as Dingo Dial's line at the end of his boss fight in Crash Bandicoot Warped? Nah, just me? I doubt it. But finally, I get to play as one of my mains. For a little while, anyway. But hey, a little while is better than none at all. We're going to continue rocking the Team Cortex, Team Cortex cart body and all that stuff, because Komodo Joe, I'm pretty sure he's still allied with Cortex. And we're gonna rock the Komodo Joe sticker, because yeah, where do they put the sticker? Oh, I think I see it. I think it's like on the top of the back two wheels. Alright, that's a pretty nice touch. We're gonna rock the Balance class, because that's Komodo Joe's class, I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is. Alright. If you go to Classic for the driving style, you will find out what the character's actual driving class is. Alright. We're going to head back to Balance. We actually are going to enter the next area, but only because I want to knock out the golden egg and see if we unlock something for that. Just consider this a sneak peek as to the area. But, forget the name. Oh, the egg is right there, so hopefully we're going to knock this out pretty quick. You'll probably want to back up around here somewhere. Look out for that boss gate that has Pinstripe's face on it. And, yeah, I guess I'm going to need some concentration, some power sliding to get that darn egg. I wonder how many tries it's going to take me this time. It didn't occur to me just to do something like that. Let's see. Not there. That's just going to take us back to Glacier Park. Let's go down slope. Oh, there it is. Alright. And yeah, you get the animation and you just unlock King Chicken, alright? Here he is. Interestingly, since he is a brand new character, he's like I think he's one of only like 2 or 3 characters that have the Drift class, which is a completely new vehicle class in Nitro-Fueled. So, that's pretty cool. Alright, let's head back. We passed by purple CTR token level. I was thinking about doing the one in Glacier Park since that's what most of this episode is about. But since we're already here, why don't we go ahead and show off a purple CTR token challenge which involves collecting crystals. Rampage Ruins. Let's hit it. So the purple CTR token challenge areas are completely original. They're not really based on any of the racetracks or anything, at least not to a huge extent. And depending on the difficulty will also determine how much time you have to collect all 20 crystals in a level. Sometimes you may need to build up some boost to get a little extra jump height to get some of the more higher up crystals. But since this is still relatively early on in the game, this isn't really a hard one. I think there's one other. I think it might be the one in Glacier Park, actually. That's the hardest one, off the top of my head. The one in the final area, I remember being, like, really deceptive with its difficulty. Like, it looks easier than it actually is, but I don't recall it being, like, one of the harder ones anyway. So, but you do kind of have to find a really efficient path, even on easy, because, you know, you might miss 1 or 2 crystals and you'll be looking for them for ages. I kid you not. Yeah, and in here, in Rampage Ruins, there are some crystals that are hidden in, like, a tunnel of some sort, I think. So I'm going to try and get this crystal over here. And I think we're going to have to go over here to get this crystal. Oh, crud. There's one higher up. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get it, though. But I really don't want to have to redo my commentary. So if I fail it, I'm just going to... Oh, man. Right freaking there. Come on. I'm just going to jump cut to when I get all 20 crystals. And cleared it with 14 seconds extra on easy. If you're trying to do these on hard, I don't know what to tell you. And I don't know, because they didn't have different time limits or difficulties in the original, so I couldn't tell you what the time limit is in the original. So, yeah. Thankfully, even when you fail, you get Wumpa points for it, so that kinda eases the pain a little bit, but... We're gonna head into Citadel Castle with Cortex, because, well, this time you actually do have a choice between 2 different racing tracks. Feels like it's been a minute since we've had that choice. There's Engine Labs, but we're gonna pass that up for now. We're gonna go over here. Check out the stained glass windows. They have designs of certain characters. I believe all of them are villains from past and current Crash games. Well, actually, I mostly just see Cortex. I think it's all Cortex here, but maybe it'll be different when we go... Oh, wait! Hold up a minute there. I think that Cortex over there, that one with the Ooga mask looks like the Cortex from Crash of the Titans, but maybe that's just a coincidence. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and do Cortex Castle with Neo Cortex. Also, all of the tracks in Citadel Castle are pretty dang hard. So, yeah, be prepared for that. Okay, so it's Citadel City, not Citadel Castle. I guess that makes sense. They wouldn't want to be Citadel Castle and there's a level called Cortex Castle in it, but yeah, all of the tracks here in Citadel City are all fairly long and they're all fairly challenging. Cortex Castle has quite a few twists and turns, a couple of shortcuts. Well, actually, I can only really think of one shortcut, and it's a medium difficulty shortcut, all in all, I would say. There are spiders that will fall from the top, so I guess this is based on the Crash 1 Cortex Castle, because, yeah, there were spider enemies in Crash 1 in the hallway levels, the dark hallway levels. There were spider enemies. Not a fan of those levels, and I'm not a fan of spiders. The only exception being Squitter from Donkey Kong Country 2, because he's a funny-looking spider, and he's pretty helpful, too, so I make do with him. But any other spider in real life or otherwise, or, you know, yeah, I don't mess with spiders. That's just my MO. Especially if they look like Black Widows, like the spiders in Crash do. Like, really, Black Widows are some of the most dangerous. Maybe not as dangerous as a brown recluse. If you get bit by one of those, yeah, you may want to call services for that, alright? The Cortex Castle, it's a lot of twists and turns. Bottomless pits, aplenty during the parts where you're actually going through bridges and whatnot. And there's a shortcut in this area coming up, but it is pretty hard to nail consistently. Well, I don't know, I got it there. Just make sure you have a good boost mode. And this is another track where we have Sacred Fire, which will be completely and utterly ruined if you even think about touching a spider. So, don't touch a spider. Lord, managed to maintain that Sacred Fire for a good amount of time. Hardly necessary on easy difficulty, but yeah, I'll take what I can get. I'm also getting sub-minute lap times, so that's pretty cool too. Yes. Watch out for TNT on the road, though. Yeah, your opponents are gonna drop them. On easy difficulty, your opponents won't use missiles at all, in my experience. Anything higher than easy difficulty, expect missile spam, though. I think other items, too. Yeah, they weren't kidding when they call this easy mode. Like, this is probably the easiest racing game mode outside of playing, like, 50cc on Mario Kart, I would say is the closest equivalent, honestly. Even that's pretty brain-dead easy, if I'm to be honest. Dang, 2 minutes 45. That strikes me as a pretty good time for Cortex Castle, for sure. Alright, so welcome to one of my favorite tracks in Crash Team Racing. How many times have I said that up until now? Probably not enough, but yeah. This is a really solid, kind of a shorter track by Citadel City standards. And there's a section coming up where it's basically a long boost tunnel, and it's really cool. This is also another track where there's more than one boost pad that gives you the Sacred Fire, actually. But, oh, it can be a little hard to maintain it. And I'm not trying too hard because, it's just a casual Let's Play. I'm not playing online, God forbid, so I don't have to try too hard. But I really like this track. And I really love the music for this track, too. It is my favorite single music track from Crash Team Racing. I have a lot of other favorites, too, but this one stands out above the rest. Am I the only one that is reminded of the Ape Escape? The music of Ape Escape when I hear it, though. Speaking of which, I've done a Let's Play of the original Ape Escape. It might be a little long, and it's post-commentary, but it might be a fun watch for some of you, and I do recommend it, looking back on it. I mean, it's post-commentary, yes, but it was impossible for me to do live commentary when I originally recorded it. So, Anyways, back to Crash Team Racing. If you get a speed boost power-up, you can actually use that to extend your Sacred Fire, if you can, but it's very hard to maintain the Sacred Fire for long periods of time. This is probably one of the best levels to practice that sort of thing, actually, at least in the Crash Team Racing side of things. I think there's another track in the Nitro Kart set that might be just as good, if not better, for practicing Sacred Fire and all that stuff, but yeah. Actually, it seems like Engine Lands is about as long as Cortex Castle was, at least for me. It just feels like it goes fast, with the speed boost tunnel and all that, and all the other speed boosting you're doing in general with the Sacred Fire. I guess if you weren't able to hold the Sacred Fire for very long, this might be longer than Cortex Castle? We'll just say they're about the same length, and that's probably why when you first enter Citadel City, you get access to Engine Labs and Cortex Castle right off the bat. You get a choice between the two because, well, lengthwise, I guess they're pretty similar. I have so much more fun with Engine Labs, though. It helps that there aren't as many bottomless pit sections, I feel. But if you're not a fan of bottomless pits, well, you may not like the next track. But the next track is a very classic track. A lot of people's favorite track in the game. And I can definitely see why. I like the track too, but it can be kind of a handful.
Congratulations! You win a trophy!
So we're actually really close to the entrance to the next track. Before we do, though, before I started recording this episode, I stopped by the pit stop and I had just enough Wumpa coins to purchase a character. Meet Megumi. If you've never played the original Crash Team Racing, you may not recognize her, but she's one of the trophy girls from the original Crash Team Racing. Yeah, her and 3 others, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can dig them out. Oh, and there's Tana as well. She wasn't in the original Crash Team Racing, but they made her a proper character in Nitro-Fueled. There's Ami, there's Liz. They gave her kind of a Australian, British accent, one of those. And then there's Isabella, who has an Italian accent. And then Megumi is Asian-based. And I guarantee you, just looking at her choice of faction, she's a huge fan of Engine, who we just played as. So probably would have been appropriate to play as her in Engine Labs, but I'm trying to show off as many characters as I can. Without further ado, let's move on to a lot of people's favorite racetrack, one of the more infamous, Hot Air Skyway. So welcome to Hot Air Skyway. As the name implies, you're going to be dealing with a lot of bottomless pits around you at almost all times. Sometimes you'll have little walls to back you up, but sometimes you won't. Using a class with extra turning ability is advised to get used to this track. But don't be afraid to come back here with a more advanced class and try to make the most of this Sacred Fire, because yeah, this is another track that has Sacred Fire. Seems like there's a lot of those in Citadel City. Every track thus far has had them. Cortex Castle, Engine Labs, and now Hot Air Skyway. I managed to hold on to that fire for a good long while though, so that's pretty cool. Regardless of the race class you choose for your character, if you get Sacred Fire, the Sacred Fire automatically puts you at the highest max speed possible. Even if you're using the turning class, if you're Sacred Fire, you're going to automatically be on par with Speed class, if I'm not mistaken. Just a reminder, I'm not an expert on racing games, and while I know a lot about Crash Team Racing, it wouldn't surprise me if I miss a detail here and there. Well, particularly with multiplayer, because I do come back to replay the adventure mode of Crash Team Racing somewhat frequently. That and, well, I have to come back and get 100% on the adventure mode in the Switch version now, after this Let's Play is over, behind the scenes. Now might be a good time to mention, if you get 100% every CTR token, relic, and everything like that, you will get another chance to race Oxide, and you get another cutscene for it, but it's not really as big of a deal as the cutscenes that you get for like Crash 2 or Crash 3, I think. And you basically have to double your game time in order to unlock that ending. I mean, Crash 3 was already kind of pushing it, but I was able to do a lot of that behind the scenes, and I was still able to make a bonus video out of it. So that was pretty cool in retrospect. But for Crash Team Racing, since this is a bonus Let's Play in general, I think making a bonus video would be a little... I'm not against doing one if all you guys post in the comments that you really want to see me do the extra stuff that's interesting to show off. I feel like I kind of went above and beyond a little bit in this playthrough so far, though. I even showed off how to get King Chicken, which I really was not planning to do, and honestly, before I started doing this Let's Play, I had completely forgotten that the character even existed, honestly. I mean, it's a nice bonus character. I mean, any bonus character is nice to have, but I mean, yeah, man. Like, I showed off a lot more than I thought I would, and then I'm not going to be showing off a relic race, but a relic race essentially is the same thing as a regular race, but you have the time boxes from Crash Warped returning, and if you hit those, you'll save time, and if you get all of the boxes, you'll get an extra 10-second shade off of your final time. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's all that stuff, and, well, you don't have to deal with opponent racers while you're doing relic races. That's pretty cool, too. And now the trophy girls are the one receiving the trophy. It's nice to get recognition, isn't it? Gotta say, her choice in sneakers is pretty nice, too. We can only move forward, ladies and gentlemen, as we head to the last of the main tracks in Crash Team Racing. There were a couple of extra ones. There's Slide Coliseum and Turbo Track. One of them you unlock by getting most of the relics, and the other one you need, I think you need the gems to unlock from the gem cups. So yeah. They're accessible in Gemstone Valley. I believe I may have shown off their location in an earlier episode, so there you go. But this is going to be the last racing track. Literally. After this, 2 boss races, which means 2 racing tracks returning from Citadel City. So let's move forward to Oxide Station. Alright, so Oxide Station. By the way, this won't be the last we'll be seeing of it. You know, I mean, you could probably have guessed that because of reasons, but still. This is, I think it's the longest track in the game. The only other ones I can think of that might give it a run for its money are Hot Air Skyway and Tiny Arena. Those are pretty long tracks as well. But Oxide Station has a little bit of everything, but mostly a lot of twists and turns. But by twists and turns, I mean more in the aesthetics. Like, all of the roads kind of twist together and get intertwined by the looks of it. But you're pretty much only going on one path. There aren't really any real shortcuts to exploit here in this track, but there are some shortcuts you can kind of jury rig, as it were. I don't know what happened there. I really foobarred my jump. Twists and turns you have to worry about. I intentionally picked the speed class because I feel like I'm good enough at the game to where I can take advantage of the extra speed whenever possible, but if you're struggling, don't be afraid to go to a turning class character or the turning vehicle class in general. Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, if you play the adventure mode in Classic, I wonder if you get the ability to change your vehicle class for each character, or if that stays true to the Classic as well. I mean, the character you pick is the only character you can play as for the rest of the adventure, and it's also the only vehicle class you can. Yeah. Really strange how they kept that option intact to such a degree. That's not something you usually see in a remake. I guess that kind of thing is appreciated. You know, they went through all that trouble, and there's bound to be at least 1 or 2 people that appreciate that sort of thing. And maybe it didn't add that many development resources, so yeah, it seemed like a win-win. Yeah. But anything else that I can think of that I didn't already talk about or cover in this Let's Play thus far, since we're going to be doing boss races like this, we may want to have to talk about them and concentrate on them. I can't really think of anything, you know? I feel like 4 episodes of Crash Team Racing gives me plenty of time to concisely deliver all of my thoughts, feelings on the awesomeness of Crash Team Racing. Well, actually, I guess it is fine to bring up another kart racing game that came out on the N64. I'm not talking about Mario Kart 64 because that game has not aged well. I'm sorry, all of you that love that game, but that game has not aged very well at all. If anything, I think the original Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo aged a little bit better, just because of how unique it is in retrospect. But no, I'm talking about Diddy Kong Racing, which was made by Rare and had an adventure mode of its own. So Crash Team Racing actually is paying more homage to Diddy Kong Racing rather than Mario Kart. But Diddy Kong Racing itself was inspired by Mario Kart, obviously, so things come full circle, one could argue, on that front. But yeah, Diddy Kong Racing, that was a racing game on the N64. I've done a playthrough of it. It should be uploaded in speed play form, but it's not the kind of game I can do a commentary for because I don't have much to say about it. I can say that it's about on par with Crash Team Racing quality-wise, but it's aged, and it hasn't really gotten a remake on the same scale as Crash Team Racing. It got a DS port, but not a lot of people like that version. myself included. So, yeah, I mean, if you are wanting to get into Diddy Kong Racing, I highly recommend just looking into playing or emulating the N64 version.
What, you call that racing? Forget about it. If you's gonna race Oxide, you's gonna have to get past me first. I'm the speed champion here, and I'm gonna save the world. For a sizable fee, of course.
Hey, yo, I'm racing over here! Oh man, I just can't resist that accent. Oh boy. Anyway, welcome to Pinstripe. Probably the hardest of the first 4 boss races because he has pretty good AI. You're playing on a pretty tough track with a lot of bottomless pits. I'm using the speed class, which is very risky, but I can handle it. And Pinstripe, every boss has their preferred power-up, as you already know by now. Pinstripe prefers bowling bombs, which normally aren't the best power-up in the game because they can be a little unreliable unless you power them up with the Wumper Fruit, with 10 Wumper Fruit, and I think then they get a little bit of a homing property. And you can set them off early. I'm pretty sure the AI can do this too. So there is that, but whether you consider Pinstripe the hardest or the easiest probably depends on how the track goes. I think the track can make or break the difficulty for this boss race in particular. If anything, I'd argue that the boss race tracks actually have a pretty nice difficulty curve. You go from the absurdly simple Ruse Tubes to Papu's Pyramid, which is a little more involved, and then you go to Dragon Mines, which has the twist and turn, the spiral thing at the end that can be kind of tricky. And then you basically climax with Hot Air Skyway and the next track we're going to be doing when we race against Oxide. Gee, I wonder which track it'll be. At any rate, though, yeah. Each track has a nice difficulty increase. Oh, come on! That shouldn't have been programmed that way. There should have been collision there. Or it should have been solid, I should say. Stake solid. Oh, speaking of which, I just popped off a bowling bomb right there without even trying, so there you go. But yeah, this is still uneasy, which for Let's Play I feel is best, because if this is on anything higher, I might have to retry these a bunch of times, and every time I have to cut past and retry something, my commentary is gonna get strained and affected. I'm pretty sure the speed play might be on a higher difficulty. I doubt it, but you could look that up too. But if you're just doing a 100% run, I would do easy. But if you want to do a challenge any percent run, just do it. You can do it on hard. I just remembered, actually, there is a trophy or an achievement for doing the adventure mode in hard mode. I just remembered because I actually did that on PS4 version. But you can do an any percent run, thankfully. You don't have to race Oxide twice to get the hard mode trophy. So that's pretty cool that they did it like that. For sure. Yeah. The music track for Hot Air Skyway, I forgot to mention it, but the music track's pretty damn good too. It has a lot of energy to it, but you don't get to listen to it when you're racing against the boss. Instead, you listen to the same boss music every time. Well, I don't know if Oxide has a different music track. I never really paid attention. I don't think he does, though. But as far as being a boss is concerned, Oxide is a massive step up from the rest. And we're fixing to see why, because we're about to finish this race. And we're going to humiliate Pinstripe in the worst possible way by backing her up. Yeah, that's a pretty fitting way. That happening was pretty hilarious, too.
So, you's beat me fair and square. I doubt you'll be this lucky with Oxide. Here's a key for your troubles. Ah, brother. The little terror vermin has finally collected all the trophies to become world champion. What took you so long? Now we prove who the fastest driver really is.
Oh boy, so Oxide. Well, first of all, yeah, he gets a jump start on you. Really fair. Even on easy difficulty, Oxide is no walk in the park. I believe he has the fastest. I think all of his stats are maxed out in the boss race. I could be mistaken. Yet when you unlock him, he's like acceleration class, I think. So, kind of funny how that works out. And if you're wondering, you can unlock his hovercraft vehicle by getting 100% in the game, essentially. That or getting the Platinum Relics. One of those. Yeah! Platinum Relics are back in Crash Team Racing as well! And, you know, in the time trials, the Relic races, I mean, there's nothing extra with the CTR challenges here. You do those once, and you're good, thankfully. Actually, Oxide is looking a lot more nerfed than I thought he would be. Oh man, this is satisfying though. In the PS1 version, honestly, genre aside, Oxide is like one of the hardest bosses I've ever had to deal with. Man, regardless of the character you pick, but obviously you're gonna struggle more if you pick Polar or Pura in the original game, because that's the beginner class. You have a lot of turn, but not a lot of speed, man. And you definitely need speed here, but Oxide has access to like every power-up in the game, if I'm not mistaken. He tends to prefer spamming TNT, Nitro, and Beakers, though. I don't think he really spams any of the other power-ups, to my knowledge. And if you think you could use power-ups like missiles to slow him down, technically you can, yes. But because he usually spams power-ups so much, you may find that usually if you shoot a missile, it will just be deflected or nullified by his absurd projectile spam, or power-up spam in general. Sad to say. On the bright side, though, you only have to worry about one other racer. I guess that's the one upside of all these boss races, is that, yeah, it's one-on-one, so that basically means you don't have to worry about dealing with other racers and other racers' power-ups as well, littering about the racetrack and whatnot. So, that is a minor relief. So, final thoughts on Crash Team Racing before we end it, because my commentary is going to end as soon as we finish the third lap here. Crash Team Racing is the best racing game that I've ever played in my almost 3 decades of gaming experience. Even if you're not a super fan of the racing game genre, I highly recommend this title, particularly Nitro-Fueled. I don't really recommend the original nowadays, but it is worth mentioning that the original game is $5.99 on the PS3 or PSP/Vita PlayStation store. So there's that, but Nitro-Fueled is $40 on like PS4, you know, all the modern systems except PC. For some bizarre reason, they have yet to do a PC release as of September 2020. I don't know why. I think I know why. Maybe they don't want people glitching the microtransactions or whatever, or something, or hacking the Wumpa coins and all that jazz. I couldn't tell you. But, you know, comes recommended and all that. It goes on sale frequently for under $30, and it's a really good value. It's a value on par with the Insane Trilogy. Regardless of the version you're playing, you know, get it on the best system you have, you know. But, it's been a great race, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this bonus Let's Play. It's time to finish this off, and see you next time for my next Let's Play project, whatever that may be. From Zamzam!
The victory was mine from the beginning. Ah! I can't believe you beat me. I never lose. How embarrassing. I'll be the laughingstock of all Gasmoxia. Fine. Your miserable planet stays gushy and green. At least you still haven't gathered all my time relics. Until you've collected all of those and raced me again, you'll never be able to claim you are the fastest.
This won't be the last time you'll face nitrous oxide. We will meet again.